All right, good evening, everyone. The time is 7:07 p.m. and we announce that a quorum is present and call to order the City Council regular meeting. Everyone, please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Delivering today's invocation will be my guest, Reverend Bel Malata.
Thank you so much for having me tonight. Good evening, Mayor, and God bless every City Council member. Lord, we thank you tonight for the ability to gather here by your grace, especially praying for our Mayor and every City Council member and leader for the City of Manor. I invoke you, Lord God, in the name of Jesus, asking for your power, presence, and wisdom for the understanding of every assignment that this City Council will undertake tonight. I declare divine strategies and singleness of heart over every City Council member tonight. I declare that unity of vision will take place so that every goal set for the City of Manor will be met in the magnificent name of Jesus. And God bless the City of Manor. And the people said, Amen. God bless you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all. You may be seated. All right, this evening we have a few proclamations. The first is declaring the month of November 2025 as Native American Heritage Month. And that one reads, proclamation, whereas November is designated as Native American Heritage Month is a time to recognize and honor the rich histories and cultures and contributions of Native Americans, and whereas Native Americans have made significant contributions to the development and diversity of our nation, their cultural traditions and spiritual practices enriching for the fabric of our society, and whereas it is important to raise awareness about the ongoing struggles faced by Native American communities and to promote understanding, respect, and appreciation for their heritage, and whereas the City of Manor is committed to honoring diverse cultures and histories within our community, including Native American peoples whose ancestral lands we celebrate and recognize. Now, therefore, Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor of the City of Manor, Texas, and on behalf of Manor City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of November as Native American Heritage Month in the City of Manor, and urge all residents to observe this month with appreciation and respect for Native American culture and contributions. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Manor to be fixed this 5th day, November 2025. Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor, City of Manor. Okay. Councilman Wallace, did you want to do a picture anything? Or just good? All right, awesome. B, declaring November 3rd through November 7th as Municipal Court Week. Proclamation, whereas the Municipal Court of Manor, a time-honored and vital part of local government, has existed since 1872. Whereas the Municipal Court of Manor plays a significant role in preserving public safety and promoting quality of life in Texas, and whereas more people come in contact with municipal courts than any other Texas courts combined, and public impression of Texas judicial system is largely dependent upon the public's experience in municipal court. And whereas municipal judges and court support personnel have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and conform to the standards set by the canons of judicial conduct. And whereas municipal courts play a significant role in preserving the quality of life in Texas communities through adjudication of traffic offenses, ensuring a high level of traffic safety for our citizens. And whereas the municipal courts serve at the local justice center for the enforcement of local ordinances and find only state offenses that protect the peace and dignity of our community. Whereas the municipal judges and clerks continue to strive to improve the administration of justice through participation in judicial education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state and local professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the 933 Texas municipal courts and salute their critical role in preserving public safety, protecting the overall quality of life in Texas communities, and deterring future criminal behavior. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor of the City of Manor, and on behalf of the Manor City Council, do recognize the week of November 3rd through November 7th, 2025 as Municipal Court Week, and further extend appreciation to all Maynard municipal judges and our court staff and support staff for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to our community. I call upon all Maynard residents to join with the City Council and recognize the vital service they perform and their exemplary dedication to the community they represent. Proclaimed this 5th day, November 2025, Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor, City of Manor. And I think we have our judges and staff here. You all would like to come on up. And y'all can clap for him. Thank y'all for You want to say three things, or you just?
Oh, no. The picture's fine.
Picture's fine. Okay.
No, I mean, behind me.
One, two, three. One more. Oh, Councilwoman Ware, can't see you. Right there. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
And last but not least, item C, declaring November 7th, 2025 as Texas Arbor Day. Proclamation. Whereas Texas first observed Arbor Day in 1889 under the leadership of the Texas Forestry Association, and whereas all across Texas, from towering pines to majestic oaks and scrubby mesquites, the many trees of Texas are beautiful and prominent features of our unique, breathtaking landscape. And whereas as Texans, we value our trees and the benefits they provide us each and every day. Planting and caring for trees reduce erosion, improves air and water quality, enhances property values, and fosters a sense of community pride. Whereas this holiday for trees is an important opportunity to teach fundamental lessons about the stewardship of our natural resources and caring for our environment. It is an opportunity to learn what each of us can do to keep our community trees healthy and vibrant. It is a time we can pause to appreciate trees in our life. Whereas together we can create a higher and more beautiful future for the next generation. They in turn can affirm the duty of protecting our natural resources by being responsible stewards of this great land. Whereas the City of Manor will host a Texas Arbor Day event at Timmerman Park on November 8th, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The community is invited to bring their families to this fun event for all ages. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor of the City of Manor, and on behalf of the Manor City Council, do hereby proclaim Friday, November 7th as Texas Arbor Day in the City of Manor and urge all citizens to support efforts to take care of our trees and woodlands, and I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote well-being of the present and future generations. Proclaim this 5th day, November 2025. Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor, City of Manor. All right, and we have our awesome team that's here, Public Works. Y'all want to come up?
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
All right. All right, proclamation. Whereas Veterans Day was established to commemorate the signing of armistice that ended World War I on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, and was officially rededicated in 1954 to honor American veterans of all wars. And whereas the citizens of the city of Maine enjoy the blessings and liberty, democracy, and prosperity secured by the selfless service and dedication of the brave men and women who have served in United States Armed Services, and whereas these veterans from every generation and every conflict have demonstrated extraordinary courage, patriotism, and unwavering commitment to defending the fundamental principles of freedom and justice around the globe. And whereas the transition from military to civilian life can present unique challenges, and the city of Maine recognizes these profound sacrifices made not only by service members but also their families. Whereas Maine is to be a community enriched by the presence of our veterans, whose leadership, discipline, and civic commitment contribute immeasurably to the strength, character, and future of this great city. Whereas it is incumbent upon all citizens to pay perpetual homage to those who have worn the uniform of the United States, acknowledging the debt and gratitude owed to them and for their enduring service and readiness to defend our nation. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor of the City of Maine, and on behalf of the Maine City Council, do hereby proclaim November 11, 2025 as Veterans Day in the City of Maine, and call all residents of our community to join in respectful observance and solemn recognition of the service and sacrifices of our veterans. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of Mainer to be affixed this 11th day, November 2025. Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor, City of Mainer. I think we have Mr. Dennis here, and I think we have an announcement as well. So we come up with do the photo, and then we'll do the announcement first, and then we'll do that. Yeah. No, you go ahead. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. With this new event the Veterans Day events that's going to happen, I wanted to also introduce y'all to our new Community Engagement Coordinator, Stephanie Cho. You'd like to come up? I'm sure you will.
I'm a little short.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Stephanie. I'll be the new Community Engagement Coordinator, and I'm excited to get working with you guys with all the events, and I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dennis, you want to come up and tell us about the event coming up, and then we'll do our photo.
Mayor Harvey, City Manager, council members, community members. My name is Anthony Dennis. I am the coordinator for this year's Veterans Day program. I want to thank the City of Manor and the Manor Chamber of Commerce for co-hosting this event designed to celebrate the men and women of the armed services, those that are serving and those that have served in the past. The event will be held next Tuesday, November the 11th at Jenny Lane Park. It starts at 11:11 a.m. It will conclude around 12:11 p.m., followed up with a barbecue at Manor United Methodist Church, hosted by the American Legion Auxiliary Post 331. You can help us with this endeavor by promoting it on your social media sites. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
All right.
Thank you for putting it together.
You're very welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
One, two, three. One more. One, two, three.
All right. Moving on to down our agenda. Next, we have public comments. There are two cards. The non-agenda item for public comments is on the white card, and those who have signed up on that one, those comments will be taken. And it's for non-agenda related topics for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes. And I will keep my timer up here for you all, let you know when the time is up. And then agenda related items is on the yellow card, and the comments on the yellow card will be taken from audience members on non-agenda and agenda related items for a time not to exceed 5 minutes. That's for a total per person, and that does not include public hearings. For public hearings, items must be made when the item comes before council, and it won't exceed 2 minutes per person. No action or discussion may be taken by city council during public comments on non-agenda items. To address city council, please complete the white or yellow card and present it to the designated area prior to the meeting. All right. First, we have up for 5 minutes, Mr. Robert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name's Robert Battle. Once again, we have three pretty well empty proclamations that don't do anything to actually benefit the people. I don't like having Native and America jerk the Indians around for every treaty they ever did. I'm sorry, the judge left. The municipal court here is a court of no record. There's no stenographer. If you come to court here, there's no records. There's no audio recording. There's no video. There's no stenographer. That's the situation in 709 courts in Texas. That is basically corruption of 200 years in Texas. And I have challenged you several times, Mr. Mayor, to end the courts of no record. Speaking of courts, the 15th Circuit of Appeals accepted my answer to the answer from the Secretary of State Nelson and Travis County Commissioner, and there's, by the way, there's 93 parties in my lawsuit. So I have 20 defendants. Every defendant has 4.5 lawyers. Interesting, huh? Okay, Texas Arbor Day, we could get as many trees as we wanted. All we have to do is go halfway to Houston. Now, we have a problem with Maynard Downs. You guys got totally bamboozled, and they really played you for chumps. Austin was going to make them pay like $6 million, or excuse me, maybe $3.5 to $4 million for mitigation. So they brought it to Maynard, and now we're giving them like $8.5 million. Now we had a big problem with the trees. So my research team sent me this, and I sent you guys a copy in your email. I have an email newsletter of about 400 people I send to twice a week usually. Basically, they wanted to tear down a 29-inch, probably 150-year-old pecan tree. 147 acres, and they can't work around one tree. Well, basically, the way it works is the trees shall not be removed with new plantings if they are within the buffered area. And then another, I guess it's another 15 feet back from there. So most of the trees along the road are protected, end of story. They don't get to put warehouses there. Why would you guys want 6 warehouses there? That's 52 loading docks with about 200 18-wheelers trips. Section 14.03047, no permit shall occur until landscape planned by registered architect or city engineers. When healthy is 15.0302173A. When healthy native trees are located within the required buffer yard, the existing trees and shrubs shall not be removed or replaced with new plantings. That's pretty straightforward. That's the Maynard codes. Also in there, we have some heavy industrial site development standards. Let's talk about setbacks from the parking lot, from everywhere. So you guys really kind of blew it on that one. So it's also in my lawsuit. I'm trying to get that stopped too. It seems like I'm having to do your job. Every historic thing in town you guys are trying to destroy. The parks are empty, and you want to tell us you love our children? I don't think so. We have so much money. Why do we have to pay HEB and Home Depot $20 million? And then 2 of the parcels on there, they don't even generate taxes anymore. You guys need to claw back 1/3 of that $20 million and 1/3 of that 20-year giveaway. Cap Metro doesn't even run on the weekends, and we're paying them 1 cent of every 8 1/4 sales tax. That's deceptive trade practice. I'm trying to stop that too. County Commissioner Trevelyan is also the chairman of the board of Cap Metro. 10 years ago, we could go back and forth to Austin all day. Now, if you want to get to Austin on the bus, you go in the morning and then you stay there all day and come back. Why don't the buses go to the poll sites? That's basically a poll tax by not running there. Now,
50 seconds.
50 seconds, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Maynard grocery store. I sent you guys pictures of that. I also find a code violation in there. Now, we have another problem about these code violations in the courts and all that because the city attorneys are the prosecutors. So if it's a case where a city employee is at fault, the city's attorneys will never bring it before the court. So in my new complaints, I've asked that they get recused. And the police also did a follow-up to get more information about the public information stuff that's been going down. And by the way, we have a lot of national coverage on this lawsuit too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So typically we would just move straight through, but when there's information that's misread and miscommunicated, I need to correct that so those facts don't go out into the community incorrectly. The Maynard Downs project was not in the city limits, and we actually worked to bring the project into the city limits because that land was lost, and we wanted to make sure that the history and the connection of that project was back in the Maynard. And so, one, it wasn't in the city, and which means it didn't have to follow city code. 2, and because of us working with them, they've given land to the city so that the city can actually create an entertainment venue back there in honor of what Maynard Downs was. So I just want to make sure we have true and factual information. There's other things we'll put out later to correct any of the misinformation that's going out tonight. Next, we have Ms. Krista. Yes, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Krista Swear. I have a property on 973 next to the KB Homes Mustang Valley. Now, can you imagine running for local office and thinking you would make a positive impact on your community just to be elected and then bullied and bamboozled during city council and planning and zoning committee meetings by your own contracted attorneys and engineering firms? No, me neither. But here we are today watching billion-dollar corporations break laws and have negative impacts on the community because they control the flow of money. Texas Water Code 11.086 prohibits diversion or impoundment of the natural flow of surface waters in the state. Rivers, creeks, and marshes are flood zones. However, that does not make it legal to increase or decrease water to those areas. You know that. The common statements by professionals at these city meetings disregards landowners' complaints, multiple landowner complaints about flooding happening on their properties. And your professionals are stating, well, the land is in a floodplain. That does not make it legal in the state of Texas to increase the flow of water on their property. Those statements are irrelevant. The average income in Manor is $50,000 a year. To start a lawsuit against one of these billion-dollar organizations, pretty sure you guys are here, is at minimum $5,000 just to sit down at the table with a lawyer competent at representing an affected landowner. $5,000. And can easily run to hundreds of thousands of dollars. The average Manor resident cannot absorb these expenses. You, elected city council, are put in a position where you should be able to exercise your own individual thought and process. However, it has been shown during City of Manor meetings that any questioning of the planning and zoning department is unacceptable, and the city lawyer and engineer will bully elected officials into complying with their wishes rather than allow independent thought and decision-making ability. Review the October planning and zoning video and you will see the city engineer admit around minute 46 that the laws Manor are following actually increases water downstream. She stated it. Watch it. It's on YouTube. But it seems that the hope is...
Excuse me, ma'am, that's the 3 minutes. I'm sorry. All right, next we have up Mr. Or is this Demetrius Lilly? Is that correct?
So I'm just unfamiliar with the process.
Oh, I can explain it. So,
My wife, I thought she was supposed to speak and then I'll speak.
I think she's on agenda item number 11.
Yeah, so
But
her?
but that's because she's on the item. We actually have you down under public comments
Oh,
on this one.
okay. Sorry.
So, but you can speak now.
I can speak now. Okay, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
And
guys.
you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Just start with your name.
My name is Demetrius Lilly.
Let me remind everybody decorum. Our guests are talking to us, and so we make sure that it's quiet in the area, so we don't need comments or anything like that. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. So my wife and her mother and I, we just bought a house here. They wanted to move here, so I'm all about it. But there seems to be an ordinance that prohibits her from living here, and I married her because she's a good person, and we just want to have a good life and have a home here. And I hope that you guys hear her out in where she's come at this point of her life. She's my partner, she's my friend, and she's a good person. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is it Diane? Yes, ma'am. And you have 3 minutes as well.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Diane Faxon, Stephanie's mom. I come to you asking for understanding and leniency with Stephanie. Her husband and I recently purchased a home here in Manor together. I realize that I need more help now that I am getting aging. We had no idea that her past was going to be a problem. She made a very bad decision and a mistake when she was younger and has paid dearly for that. She served 10 years in prison and now follows all the responsibilities concerning that mistake. She has held down a job and became an upstanding citizen since she has been released. She has proven herself. I ask that you show her grace and let her live in the home that we all purchased together. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa Brooks. Yes,
Good
ma'am.
evening. My name is Melissa Brooks, and I am Stephanie Lily's little sister. I do understand how serious this matter is, and I appreciate the council taking the time to hear me tonight. I just wanted to share who my sister is. She's a wonderful person with a huge heart, and growing up, she always protected me and made me feel safe. When Stephanie was 24, she made a terrible mistake that she deeply regrets. She took responsibility and served nearly 10 years in prison, and then slowly rebuilt her entire life. That was almost 30 years ago. I believe a person should not be reduced forever to the worst thing they've ever done. A life is more than that. And I've seen who my sister has become. Since then, she's lived with integrity. She's held steady jobs, paid her taxes, and lived quietly. She's not a danger to anyone, and she's been a source of safety in my life since I was a little girl. The home that she and her husband bought in Manor represents years of saving and trying to build a peaceful and stable life. Taking that away would be devastating not only to Stephanie, but also to our aging mother who depends on her daily. Our family's being separated today, not because of anything that she's doing now, but something that happened nearly 3 decades ago. I hope that you will consider her long record of compliance, her compassion, and her commitment to living responsibly. I believe in my sister, and I believe in redemption. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking for fairness and humanity and the chance for her to continue living with peace and purpose. Thank you for listening, and thank you for considering our family with compassion.
Thank you. And is it Shiloh?
Hello. Thank you for letting us all speak to you today about Stephanie Lilly. I think her sister did a perfect job of explaining basically what I wanted to say. Stephanie is not related to me by blood, but I claim her as my sister. I've known her my entire life. I do have a daughter who's 16 now, who I always trusted with Stephanie. She's been a huge part of our life. I find Stephanie to be one of the most honest, direct, and hardworking people that I've ever known. And what I hope for her is that she can start to allow to have more hope for herself, and not be, again, held down by this decision from, again, 30 years ago, and be able to be a part of your community, which she's was so excited to be a part of and worked so hard for. My mother couldn't be here, but also Stephanie was a roommate of my mom's for a long time, and she really wanted to represent also and tried to write a letter, but it didn't make it to you guys in time. And we just have so much love and hope for Stephanie. And if you guys would accept her into your community, it would be for the benefit of everyone and not just her family, but for Manor also. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council, we're going to do some jumping around real fast and come back to the public hearing. I'm gonna move us to item number 11, consideration, discussion, and possible action for a variance request under Manor Code of Ordinance, Chapter 8, Article 8.03, sex offender residency, and take us into executive session, and then we'll come back and do item 11. City Council will now convene into executive session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with authority contained in Section 551.71. We'll be right. All right, City Council will now reconvene to open session and take action on items discussed during a closed executive session. Item number 11, we're going to pull from the agenda. And family, I'm going to ask if you all can connect with Assistant Chief Collins outside, and he can fill you in on next steps and go from there. Okay. Okay, public hearings. Conduct a public hearing on voluntary annexation of 10.01 acres, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent to contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting and other related matters. Let's see, for this item, we have, hold on, Mr. Bataille. No, he's on number 2. Public hearing, yeah, he's on number 2. Okay, so not number 1. Come on up, sir. All right, yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, my name is Michael Burrell, the Development Services Director for the City of Manor. This item is the annexation that follows the regular item that was 2 council meetings ago, as we neglected to properly notify for the first public hearing. This is the property known as the Manor Business Center, just south of 290 on the west side of Beltex.
Okay. Comments? Questions, comments, council members?
Have you received anything from the public or any comments from anyone?
No.
Okay. Again, questions or comments? Item number one.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 1.
Motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesmer. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, public hearing, conducting public hearing on specific permit specific use permit for one lot on 0.2376 acres more or less, BNT CAB parcel 2388889, also known as 100-102 East Parsons Street, Manor, Texas. Mr. Robert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name's Robert Battle. This building is basically the epicenter of our historic Main Street. This is one of the most important buildings we have. We need to make it something interesting and fun. Now, we don't need to make it new and modern. These people have said they want to put an awning there around the whole building, but that's just empty words. They have been a very poor steward of this property. Go look at it. They had an accident. Someone, drove through the front window. I sent you guys all the pictures of this. You actually let this property exist like that. That to me shows the meager, Manor pride doesn't exist when you let your downtown, quote, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use the word downtown. It's not a downtown anything. It's a little neighborhood street. These people have been horrible stewards. No, we're not going to have 18-wheelers and, 6 gas pumps there. And no, we don't want to give them the alley so they can have that for an egress. Now, you guys have stood up and told them to, postpone or halt this so far. They keep coming back with some new plan. We do not want this to be light commercial. We don't want the gas pumps there. They've shown bad faith throughout this entire process. I don't think they have even given the correct address to you guys. When people do an application, the owner needs to tell you their address. And they also should have a letter that authorizes the designer to act on their behalf. Travis CAD, they gave him the wrong address twice. And now they have a P.O. box. I got a letter, it came back. I've got it here if you want to look at it. So they're bad stewards. It's a bad plan. And once again, sometimes you do good things. I know it seems like I'm Mr. Complainer all the time, but really I don't. I don't have to like you 100%. And when I say that, I'm talking about your decisions, not personal. I still like you guys. I just like to, poke you occasionally is all. But anyway,
I'm sorry, sir. That's your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Burrell.
Mayor, Council, this item is for the Manor Grocery specific use permit. The public hearing was left open after the last meeting per request to allow for additional information to be gathered. Unfortunately, the applicant's representative is unable to be here this evening. There was a matter that they had to take care of personally. However, they did provide these handouts that are in front of you with additional information and numbers for your review. I can try my best to answer questions or inquiries related to it or the item.
Any questions, council members?
I have one. Have you heard any other comments from anyone else, or specifically the ones that you had to send notices to?
Not since the initial meetings.
My other question is on the side that's closer to what looks like the green space. Is that where the stations playing?
Pardon me as I, is that the last page? Or second to last page? Last page. That is a great question. This is just the specific use permit, so in terms of actual placement of pumps and or EV chargers, I can't speak exactly to what the design professional will submit, but we can certainly have that conversation as these things progress if that is desirable.
Okay, so those are that's not two different specific uses, or that's a combined specific use. Like, I guess you're still
Like a gas
filling
station
up
versus
the
an
gas.
EV charger?
Yeah.
It's still a fuel station of sorts.
Yeah. So fuel EV and fuel petroleum still gas. They don't have to have two separate
No,
specific
they don't have
uses,
to have two separate permits.
but they are together.
In this instance, yes.
Okay.
I have a question. Has TxDOT made a decision on the entrance from Lexington yet?
I have not been made aware of any determinations they've made. I don't know if an actual application has been submitted as the applicant. That's something they have to do separately from us. I do know that TxDOT was open to the conversation of having that entrance there, but as to where it stands currently, I'm not aware. I haven't been made aware.
Councilmember Weir, we did get a response back from TxDOT indicating that a right in and right out off of Lexington would be granted.
Other questions, council members?
So moving from DB to C1, as that reduces the requirements for the design, can staff talk about what we can do to put in place to make sure that they keep that facade, the characteristic of the little downtown?
Yes, so it is in the recommendation once we get to the regular item that staff recommends the stipulations that upon approval, there would have to be a limitation to the SUP only being valid for the current owner to prevent, getting these entitlements and then ownership being transferred and whatever promises being made being pointless. Additionally, there's the requirement that upon approval of the council, there's a development agreement put in place that indicates and is also brought back for your review and approval what improvements will be made, as well as things like masonry requirements of sides in general. Most of our standard development agreements require that increased masonry, and we can talk about aesthetic design as well within the document. And then lastly, it would be a stipulation of a 2-year time period to have essentially all these things completed and construction to commence. That way they don't, get it and then sit on it. But that is within the regular item. But those are things that we can do, and if there's any other suggestions or things that you would like to see with the item, we're always open to suggestions.
With this being in our master plan, some of these things in regards to the culture of one needs to be preserved and all that kind of stuff is already covered in that, correct?
Pertaining to like the standards set in the development agreement? Or like the actual comprehensive plan and what it entails for this specific area?
The downtown master plan that we did and created with the terrace overlay.
So
I believe that does not have it some expectations on aesthetics and architecture.
Yes, it does, and we would implement that through things such as a development agreement to ensure that those standards are followed.
Okay, so it's not already required for the area, or hasn't been amended into the code yet?
It hasn't been completed yet.
Okay.
I think Councilmember Hill kind of asked about this. So the neighbors like Relax Inn and Duets, they haven't responded at all. They were notified because they're within that space, but we haven't
received any personal correspondence pertaining to the actual gas station specific use permit.
Okay.
I know we've had conversations about the actual, awnings and the potential updating or restoration of those that exist, and just general questions about how it would work since there are different elevations and how that would work, but nothing specifically pertaining to the gas station.
How was the response with that?
Mayor, Council, and speaking to all the business owners and looking at the existing facades, we know with the downtown, and if we've been to other towns in the area, that's one of the facade programs that most towns do to try to get uniformity. And so that was one of the things every owner was in agreement to see their awnings be consistent, and that would be one of the things we would accomplish with this is have consistency across those 6 buildings.
Thank you.
I think also my concern would be the sidewalk in that area, having some work done on it as well.
So with any site plan that's submitted to the city for review, along rights of way, it's a requirement to have sidewalks. We have a minimum standard of 5-foot wide sidewalks with, sand lining, we have a standard for it, and it's required with every site plan that's put in.
They have one there already, but
It would have to be brought up to
Just-
par with that work being done.
thank you.
But we could preserve Johnny Depp's prints and signature, right?
We can certainly make every effort to do that, yes.
Is the alley a one-way or a two-way?
It's used as a two-way, but what the actual stipulation of it is, I couldn't tell you.
On the graphic, it shows one way.
The
But it
graphic
has-
shows traffic flowing one way on one page and then the other way on
yeah.
another. So
Yeah, and then it has in and outs on that one way as well. So that might need to be considered because you're gonna have people trying to turn in and turn out, and then you right there at that corner. And is that a right turn only? Well, technically it's a one way, so you can't turn out. So it just seems like you're gonna have people backing up right there in a close corner potentially. They can only turn left, and you're gonna have a line waiting to come out, a line and then people trying to turn in, and you're gonna have up here these right in only,
Right in, right.
and that's gonna be close, and that pump is gonna get backed up pretty quick
Mm-hmm.
since there's only two car pumps.
And that's been one of the main concerns of P&Z was that, egress and all of that.
Yeah.
Michael, I wanted to show you something on the pictures, a little bit of a discrepancy. Right here, that's what it was going back. And then when you look here,
That's what I was pointing out. Yeah, we're going in 2 different directions. Yes.
Other questions, council members? If none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 2.
Got a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Westway. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Moving down the line to public hearing number 3, conduct a public hearing on levy and assessments, Mustang Valley Public Improvement District. Mr. Robert. Mr. Robert, before you go or begin, you have public hearing 2, 3, and 4. There's only 3 public hearings. I just want to make you aware.
No, I'm sorry. There is actually one. I thought there was one extra one. I'm sorry. That was the public hearing. But yeah, I'm just talking on number 3.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay. Again, my name's Robert Battle. This is an interesting situation with water runoff. Water runoff is caused by impermeable surfaces. It's caused by all these developers putting concrete everywhere. I've been to Miss Swire's place, and I've seen it under like 3 or 4 inches of water all around. Now, I can appreciate that sometimes the maps talking about flood areas and FEMA plans and all that can be problematic. But basically, I would like to say that this assessment should be raised, and they should put in an old-style stone retention wall, maybe 2 feet to 4 feet tall, that protects her property. And this gets back to another thing where, for some unknown reason, every citizen in Manor is charged, what, $7 a month now for water runoff mitigation? I didn't add any concrete. How come I have to pay for some developer over here or some shopping center over there? That's ridiculous. That's you, in my opinion, ripping off the citizens for stuff the developer should pay. And therefore, I think the levying assessment should be raised to include that water runoff plus the whatever it takes to put in a water fence that actually is a barrier that keeps the runoff from going into the neighbor's property. These people have lots of money. They don't need to poor boy it to us, and you guys fall for this over and over. Well, yeah, we're going to help them, but you got to pay $3 million to help us. Why? We don't need to beg anybody to come here. We're sitting on a gold mine, and you guys need to stop begging people. You know, you say more. I'm sorry, I was going into other areas. I apologize. So that would be my thing, to raise that assessment.
Thanks, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Burrell.
Mayor Council, my name is Michael Burrell, Development Services Director for the City of Manor. This is the public hearing on levying assessments for the Mustang Valley PID. We have our consultants, legal counsel, and a representative of KB Home that are able to answer any questions that you may have on a more technical level.
Okay. I just, again, want to make sure we have clear communication. So can you explain what the levy of assessments is so that it's, so everybody's clear about what we're doing?
Mayor, council members, Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney. We do have Rob Hazlett from P3 that can answer that.
Just so everybody's clear on the terms and what levy assessments means for the project.
Absolutely. So the levy of assessments for a PID project is actually not a cost that is passed on to the developer. That is an assessment that is put on the landowners. So raising the levy against the owner would actually not affect them in relation to the previous comments.
Okay. All right. Well, since you're up there, you want to give like 2 or 3 minutes more about how that PID works and why there's assessments levy. Just want to make sure it's clear out there.
Sure. So the way a PID works is that the city and the developer, they work together on a project. We come up with the authorized improvements, the costs of the project, and then based on factors, in this case, the maximum tax rate equivalent as determined by the city, there is an assessment levied on the district in order to pay for, in this case, a portion of the improvements. I think some rough numbers of the total cost for this district was about $8 million, and there is a levy of $3 million placed on the district, which leaves roughly about $5 million that the developer is paying for.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Burrell. While it's going up there, council members, do I have any questions about the PID or the levy of assessments? Go ahead. You have anything else to add? Oh, no. All right. All right.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 3.
Motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving forward. Item number consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda considered to be self-explanatory by council, and we've been acting on motion. There will be no separate discussion of items unless requested by mayor or council member, and which items will be pulled from the consent agenda and considered separately. Number 4, consideration, discussion, possible action to approve the city council minutes. Number 5, consideration, discussion, possible action regarding access easement donation agreement between City of Manor and 13400 Highway 290 AGV LLC. Number 6, consideration, discussion, possible action on regarding access easement with 13400 Highway 290 AGV LLC for Presidential Glen Lift Station project. Number 7, consideration, discussion, possible action regarding an easement, access easement with West Elgin Development Corporation with for the Presidential Glen Lift Station project. Is there a motion on the floor or request for any items?
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as read.
Motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Ware. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Regular agenda item number 8, consideration, discussion, possible action on the use of Jenny Land Park for Veterans Day ceremony. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We're wanting to make sure that we get your blessing, that we can partner with the Chamber of Commerce to do the Veterans Day ceremony on November 11th.
All right. Council members, you got any questions? My only one is, would there be any potential liability, and who will be who will be legally liable for anything on that day?
Through the special events, that should be, I'm sure there's still some kind of liability on the city, but it's liability on the chamber since they're really hosting the event.
Okay. And what they do, some kind of paperwork on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Council members, any other questions?
Can you tell us what is our contribution to
Them to
besides
be able
it
to,
being our park?
just being able to, they're going to be able to use the park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're pretty self-sufficient. Anthony Dennis does a great job. He does pretty much all of it himself. So kudos to him.
Okay.
But we'll be there to assist if he needs any help. Thanks.
Will there be a flyover this year?
That I'm not sure. I was kind of hoping Anthony Dennis was going to be here too at this one. I do know that he's got someone to speak, and I think he's got Mayor there to speak, and I think they're going to do some taps. I think.
Mm-hmm.
It usually gets approved, but there's never planes available for the flyover.
Right.
Other questions, council members? If not, I'll take a question or a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the use of Jenny Lane Park for the Veterans Day ceremony hosted by the Manor Chamber of Commerce on November 11th, 2025.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. It was second by Councilman Moreno.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 9, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a professional service agreement with GovWell Technologies, Inc. for permitting, planning, and code enforcement software. Yes, sir.
Mayor Council, my name is Michael Burrell, Development Services Director for the City of Manor. The purpose of this professional services contract is to give the Development Services Department a better permitting software to use on our day-to-day operations. Currently, we have My Government Online, and we've run into challenges with usability, customer interface, making changes on the back end, things of that nature. And after meeting with multiple different permitting software providers, GovWell was the one that stood out the most to us due to the services they provide, for the cost that it's provided at, and their overall willingness to accommodate the city and our needs. There is a presentation that has been provided for you that kind of details the services that they have, and we can certainly go through that page by page, and then I can answer any questions for you that you may have after.
I don't know if we want to go through the whole presentation. What is it y'all have a specific question on or would like to spend time on, council members?
I just had a question for the training for staff. If we were to get this, would it be live or Zoom, or how would the training be?
It would be virtual, and there's set hours included with the cost of implementation. It would be over a roughly 6 to 8 month period, which includes gathering the data from our current permit software, creating the platform that us and our citizens will use, as well as the training on how to use a software while it's being implemented and rolled out.
Thank you.
What other cities use this?
In Texas, we have Hutto, Decatur. There are other cities around the nation. I've spoken specifically with the Hutto Development Services Director just because they're close to home and they have similar development and population to us. She was very positive in terms of her review with the software. They've been great to work with, and she couldn't really list out any flaws. Very positive review, glowing review.
What is our current like permit intake?
We have a volume of about 1,500 or so permits a year on average. It'll range anywhere between 12 to 15. The last 4 years specifically, we topped out at 1,900. I believe that was in 2021 to 2022, but averages around 12 to 1,500.
Does the software have a some type of customer satisfactory type of deal?
Yes, so there's actually multiple options. They have, during regular business hours, a live operator that if there's any just general basic permitting questions like, hey, I want to rebuild my fence, do I need a permit? They can provide you the documentation you need to apply for a fence permit. And if you apply after hours or you have any questions after hours, there's an AI chatbot that's accessible 24/7 that basically scrapes all the data that we have for our current permitting and ordinance requirements, and it'll give you general information based on that while also directing you to the correct person to contact within the department.
Let me correct myself. I'm meaning more on the end of rating the usability of it, like this, the ease of use of the resource.
From a citizen standpoint or ours? Like, because there's of course
all stakeholders that'll be involved that have access to it. Because
yes, sir.
Because I know we've had the current thing for a while, right? And so the key is ensuring, and this may be the perfect solution, but if it's not going down that years of software that doesn't work. And so just making sure if there's a way for feedback or rating or some way that you have some type of internal mechanism that's going to say for all stakeholders that are using it, end users, that we get that feedback, so we say, this is not working for this group or that group or whatever, and the company has the opportunity to tweak it, and if it can't be fixed, then something else. But just make so we don't be in a long line of years of down the road with something that doesn't work.
When meeting with them, they did provide Yelp-esque reviews from different communities and their feedback on it. The majority of it was positive, with, of course, their negative comments and things that they're supposed to correct and make interaction. They do have frequent updates for the platform after listening to, of course, community feedback as well as the municipality that's utilizing them. So there is opportunity for the community as well as staff to communicate issues and challenges we have.
Okay. So, kind of like the same question, but is this compatible with like our financial software or GIS?
Yes. We actually asked that specifically because of the amount of electronic payment we receive. They work with the majority of electronic payment service providers. Additionally, they specifically specified that they integrate with ArcGIS, and as you're all aware, we've recently gotten that underway. We're going strong. We're getting maps that are going to be usable for the community and up on a public-facing portal hopefully very soon. We're looking towards the end of the year, just working out the kinks of how to present certain data because of how we currently have it configured. It's a little awkward to transition, but they do specifically integrate with GIS so that data can be accessible on the permitting platform.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know how beneficial GIS can, make everybody's life a lot easier. Will residents be able to track their permit progress?
Mm-hmm. You can directly contact permit technicians. You can communicate within the project. On the staffing side, there's collaborative plan review, which is one thing that I was pleasantly informed about. It works in essence the same way that Bluebeam does, but instead of having to pay for Bluebeam separately, which is $10,000 a year, it's built into the program, and multiple people can be on the same plan set at once. So,
right. And Councilman, I think that's why I wanted Michael to mention that, because of the cost. You get more, but then you get something that now we can say here's a better outcome for us.
So with this program, it's $34,000, but with that cost, it would reduce the need for some of the other programs we have. There's also no limitation on the amount of permits that we can process in a year. With our current plan with MGO, once you surpass 1,000, it's $10 per additional permit. Mm-hmm. They don't have a free, I say free, ArcGIS integration is not included in their base cost, so that's something else we would have to pay for in addition. And on top of that, with this having its own built-in plan review, that's another $10,000 we can save by not utilizing Bluebeam as a program. So there's things that balance out. Also worth noting, our tech fees essentially cover the cost of the program. We average around $30,000 a year in tech fees, and the purpose of them is to pay for our permitting software.
No hidden cost or nothing?
No, I was actually able to negotiate with them because there was an implementation fee that they were willing to waive.
Okay, cool.
It's just the, I guess it's over the next 3 years in this agreement. It's about $5,100, right? Because of the annual uplift fee of 5%.
So the initial term won't have that.
Yeah.
And should say.
So then about $3,500.
Yes, sir. 34,000, just to specify.
34,000 is the fee, but then there's an annual uplift of 5%.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that won't occur for
so
the
that's
initial.
about 17 a year, 1,700 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions, council members? While they're thinking, kudos to you all for this continual journey of moving us into the, what is it, it's the 21st, the 22nd century? Yeah, catching us up and finding software that's speaking across all the lanes, and putting the team in a better situation for the work that they're doing and our customers, so.
Yes, sir. I heard you loud and clear when you said we need to start being a bit more efficient. So
yeah. Well, and I'm hoping. Did we have anyone from GovWeb here?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Well, I mean, the other thing is, I saw that data extraction was in Excel. Is that out of our system or out of their system?
We get that from our current permitting software, My Government Online, and then they transition that data into the new permitting software. They do aid us with that, though. That's something that they offer that most other permitting companies didn't. Typically, you're responsible for getting your own data, but they'll work with us to try to acquire that information.
Okay. Do they have extraction opportunities?
If we were to switch from them?
No, just in general. If we want.
We could like to pull data. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
They have numerous report options. We can pull things in Excel form, PDF. It's a wide range. There was a very long demo that we went through. We met multiple times just to ensure that data could be presented accurately and diversely.
Okay. Any other questions, council members? I'll take questions or a motion.
So it's
a website, but it's mobile friendly. So one of the modules that would be, two of them are code enforcement as well as inspections. It's designed to be user friendly on mobile devices. So you would still go to a website, so to speak, but it would function in essence like an app. It's not like you're going to be looking at the same thing on your desktop.
Does is there any cost to the end user for any services or like any other fees outside of it just being your regular permit fees and when you're submitting it?
Just the tech fee that's been in existence even now. That's the only thing that it is. And most, I think the max tech fee we charge would be $50, but you have to have like a massive permit, like construction plans or something like that, which in context, most construction plan fees exceed a few $100,000. So $50 isn't, I hope, too much of a strain for the applicant.
They definitely pay all of that before they receive any of it, right?
Testing and inspection fees or general permit fees will charge beforehand.
Okay. But it can be accessed 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's no cap to when you can log into this, check your progress, upload plans, communicate with people. It's completely accessible.
okay. And just to, I guess, make sure, with the new technology and the great AI, is there a human behind it that's
During regular business hours, yes. And of course, as staff, we still have the ability to go in and see what conversations are being had and assist when the time comes. This is not meant to replace any human interaction. It's simply to aid the community and us with being a bit more efficient with how we spend our time and providing the most accurate information in an appropriate time frame.
Thank you.
As a fellow permit analyst, I want to thank you guys for all the hard work you do, because I know it can be a thankless job sometimes. So I really do appreciate that. And with that being said, Mayor and City Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve a professional services agreement with GovWell Technologies, Inc. for permitting, planning, and code enforcement software to form and authorize the city manager to execute the contract upon final approval from the city legal counsel.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Amesqua. Any questions to the motion? Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Number 10, consideration, discussion, possible action on regarding a change order to the construction contract for the Greg Maynard Road ground storage tank and pressurization facility improvements project. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. The item before you is for a change order for the construction contract on the Greg Maynard ground storage tank. To give you a little background on it, we've been working on this site. This is going to be our new ground storage pressurized system for our water system, and we had some delays on the electrical side. That we're going to do an underground electrical pad that was going to be several, probably more like 6 or 7 months out. So we were able to shift and adjust to do an overhead electrical. The contractor, we're working with them with the days. Well, this is going to be no cost associated with the change order. This is just giving them days. We're working with them because they took the money off of what they had to consume of making a new electrical panel to fit a retrofit to a automatic shut off, and they basically consumed all of those costs so they could have the days. And we're here. We're going to give them. We're hoping that we can give them the 123 calendar days to complete this project. We're getting really close. Where there's a few other little items of a backup generator that we got to do, and then do initial walkthrough. And we're hoping that we'll make this new deadline for the final. They did a lot of work probably about 3 weeks ago, to try to get it to be close to functioning as we can. We're still waiting on some SCADA pieces that are going to be able to communicate electronically with our computer, and we can see the gauges and stuff. But we're getting really close. I'm getting really excited. I wish it was on today, but hopefully another couple of weeks.
Will this increase water pressure in that area?
Yes, ma'am. And with the project that we're doing on 973, hopefully with this new booster station, we're here pretty soon. Hopefully I'll get another bid or a bid approval for y'all on Greg Lane, which is going to be another booster station that will help the other side of town. But we're also doing a water line project right now on 973. So once that is connected, we can actually use this booster station hopefully to push water to the other side too, and boost pressure there.
Okay, so just to make it clear for the community, City Council and City staff is doing what they can to increase water pressure in certain areas of town.
Yes, ma'am.
And to make sure that there's clear and proper water flow.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, I would also share with the public that this particular project did qualify for funding that we got from Congressman Cassar's office, and it was identified in a list of other projects. So, again, if we're looking for grant opportunities, we are pursuing grant opportunities at every chance, and at times you may get one, and it may be 2 or 3 or 4 years before you get more money. But at least as we grow, we have to take advantage of those grant opportunities. So we would continue to do that at every step, from PD to Public Works to any department, sidewalks, working with TechStop. If there's something we can get through those agencies, we will apply.
Okay. Take questions or a motion.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve change order number 1 to the construction contract for the Greg Maynard Road ground storage tank and pressurization facility improvements with CC Carlton Industries Ltd., which will add an additional of 123 calendar days to the project completion date.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
First reading for consideration, discussion, possible action on ordinance annexing 10.01 acres, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent contiguous to the city limits, providing for an open meeting, and other related matters.
Mayor, Council, my name is Michael Burrell, Development Services Director for the City of Maynard. This is the first reading for the annexation that was mentioned in the public hearing. I do want to add, just contextually, we're still having conversations with the property owner about tax implication upon completion of annexation. So if the first reading is approved, they'll just be delaying the second reading until they're ready to proceed and complete the process.
Questions, council members? No questions. Just a request.
Yes, sir.
For all, move forward, like for all the annexations, that you can just drop in that image.
I'm sorry.
Drop in the image, so it can be seen.
Yes, sir.
No questions. I'll take a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of an ordinance annexing 10.01 acres, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent and contiguous to the city limits.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesmer. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Lost my spot. Here we go. Moving on to item number 13, consideration, first and second and final reading, consideration, discussion, possible action regarding an ordinance for one lot on 0.2376 acres, more or less, and being TCAB parcel 238889, also known as 100 and 102 East Parsons Street, Maynard, Texas, from DB downtown business to C1 light commercial. Questions, council members? And you said the team for this one is not here?
That is correct. They had an urgent matter that they had to attend to, so they weren't able to be present today.
Okay.
Mayor and Council, Scott Jones, Economic Development Director. If I could address council on a couple of issues regarding this item and the next item, number 13. I've been involved with this project for probably three years now, and have come to the realization that there are a lot of things, and we've done a downtown study and looked at things trying to motivate downtown, trying to do things to make sure that our downtown progresses forward. And this project is one of those cornerstone projects that probably can get things moving forward. In every project that I've come across, there's a trade-off a lot of times. You have to give something up to get something. In this case, this project would remove an eyesore that we have downtown exists today. It's been there for a long time. It's not a good-looking building as it is right now. The owner's convenience store needs the gas, and that's been a point of contention, but they need that gas to make that convenience store work. It's just the way their business runs. It's a positive forward motion for downtown to get that business up and running. It'll do a number of things for the city. It'll be a catalyst to move forward downtown and further renovate other buildings, and it'll help redevelop other downtown properties. It has property value. They're going to put hundreds of thousands of dollars into that building, and it will add property value and hopefully get the other properties on that block to do the same. It also it'll provide groceries and beverages to the residents within walking distance. There are going to be almost 2,000 residents within walking distance of that store, especially when those two apartment complexes, one of them we toured today, and when the other one gets, there's going to be 600 residents over there within walking distance in those two apartment complexes. So it'll be a lot of people, and the bikers that come through town and everybody else need a place to stop, need a place to buy groceries. It creates a walkable activity downtown. That's something we don't have. We don't have that movement. We don't have that activity, and something that the downtown planners said we need to have that movement. We need to have that walkable activity downtown. This will be a start for that. So you need that vibrant downtown activity, and this is kind of the first step for that, is what I see. So we can do something with that building. This is our chance to do it, or we can let it sit there, and it may sit there another 5 years, or who knows, another 10 years, and we can just sit there and drive by it every day and look at it. But I think this is the time that we have the opportunity, and if y'all act, then we can see something good happen downtown. But those are my comments. Thank you.
What happened to the other images where they had, I think, outside dining and some other stuff?
That was the old presentation.
Old presentation?
The one that was provided today was an updated one that he intended on speaking over.
Yeah, because I saw on there it said option 1 on the documents, and I was just curious as why they went from there. Anyway, questions, council members?
Can anyone speak to making it accessible and what kind of features will be in there for our handicapped and disabled citizens?
So just from a general building code perspective, there are ADA compliant standards that any building that's constructed has to comply with.
So nothing special. We're just following regular.
It's still on there. I see it. It's just not on the other document. Yeah, it's on this one. Jones, I found it.
Oh, yeah. I was going to make sure that upside down and not here on the back.
Yeah, it's on the back. Yeah.
Sorry, Michael, I feel like I misspoke. Was this not a location that had EV stations, charging stations on there at all? That wasn't this one. It was just gas stations.
This one was a gas station, but there was a question about it, and it was contemplated, but it's just not shown on the current renderings.
Okay, so
EVs don't necessarily. EVs have not required specific use permits because they're not fuel pumps. They don't have tanks that go underground and specific fire. Well, there are specific fire safety standards. let me misspeak there. But it's kind of a gray area in our code because they're so new that we have to kind of take each application as it comes and use our discretion to make sure it's done properly. And we've held up a few people with that just because there's certain fire requirements that have to be met. There's distance and spacing and how you're going to run your conduit and how close it is to a transformer and just things of that nature. Don't want to get too off track, but all that to say, EVs don't require an SUP, but they are allowed at gas stations.
Okay, and I guess my concern was, well, I guess not until you said about certain areas and making sure that it had to be so far away from a distance between maybe the building or something like that, because it doesn't seem like a big space, but just to make sure that it can't be, like it wouldn't be relocated to be inside the main gas station grocery area, but it seems like it's only limited to that space that's closest to the grass area. Or
it would be there right in front of the building because typically your EV chargers go on parking spaces because you can't fill up with an EV vehicle like you would at a pump. You have to sit
and
there.
So I didn't see where else it could go, but I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going anywhere closer because they kind of take up space, and while they wait, they are taking up other time for other consumers to be able to come in. Like you guys were talking about, just even going in and out and having to wait on Lexington or the other street or any other street, just to kind of get in. And if those EV spaces are there blocking your entryway, like it can't be right there by the door, right?
The difficulty of it is, well, you can always have the stipulation that, I guess, I don't know to what extent they can indicate you can't put EV chargers there. I don't want to misspeak there. That seems like a legal thing that I'm not educated
I'll say this, Michael. I know the council, we've been looking at the 3 lots behind the Relax Inn as public parking for downtown. And if there's a growing demand, we can identify that space away from the buildings to be able to have that separation. Because I think that's what Eric Davis is looking at doing too for his building, is to try to have some off-site station for EV.
I was going to mention specifically, if you wanted it to be contemplated for the green space area next to this lot, it wouldn't necessarily be tied to the SUP because that's not on the property. Like that, the green space is next to the alley and it's on the other side, and that's not theirs. But to all that point, this is just for the actual ability to apply for a site plan. So the general layout as presented in the SUP is what would be worked on, like the design will be based off of, but it can take different forms. Oh, by all means.
Other comments, questions, council members?
I think that the one statement that I would like to make is that it was originally a gas station in the first place, and the only reason it's not is because they let it lapse. They let they stayed closed for more than a year, right? So they had to come back and reapply for the special use permit for it to become a gas station again. But it originally was one in the first place. Me personally, I wasn't too keen on having it there because of the traffic flow. But the simple fact is it was a gas station in the first place. So, how much more damage would it do for them to have to pull up the tanks that are in the ground there if we chose to not make it a gas station?
I think they got to do that anyway, right?
They're going to have to move them, right?
Yeah. I
Or,
would.
or do they actually have to move them? Because that is an important question. Do they actually have to move the tanks in order to place the, to
With the
change the direction of the pumps?
with the reconfiguration of the site and just the age of the infrastructure that's in there, they'll have to rip it all out regardless, update it, bring it up to the current standards as opposed to whatever it was when it was installed however many years ago.
So they will still have to dig that up and redo that area, which is going to cost, not cost, but cause more of a traffic issue in that area. Just talking this out, okay?
Yeah, no
Just-
problem.
just-
With any construction that goes on major right of ways, there's just unavoidable traffic, potential detours, things of that nature.
All right, thank you.
What's our vote requirement on this? Because of the P and Z situation?
There's no longer a requirement of a supermajority, just a majority vote is necessary.
Okay.
But yes, this is also the zoning, not the specific use. So regardless of this, if you approve the zoning, we still have to go to the specific use permit, which would be the actual gas station.
Mm-hmm. Other questions?
This is not a silly question, but it's a it's a question. Is there anything? Because it sounds negative. If the grocery part fails, changing it to commercial, light commercial, is there any other alternative that it could be used for that would still make it nice and economic development friendly to make it that corner thrive? Like after it changes, if it just happens to not go, is that the only?
Are you asking if the grocery store fails or if just the concept of it being a gas station fails in general?
I think the gas station will do just fine, but yeah, just the use of the grocery part.
I will let
Or-
Scott
or
Jones
that
speak more on
building in
this, but
general.
my understanding of how gas stations and convenience stores works is the majority of their sales comes from their actual like fuel.
Okay,
I
then
would
both.
think, Council Scott Jones, Economic Development Director, I would think you're going to know in a couple of years if that gas station is going to make it or not. So, and if it doesn't, they're going to end up selling it and end up replacing it with something else. Somebody else will come up and buy it because it's a prime corner for the real estate. But the current owner who is in that business, in the convenience store business, and they require gas sales in order to run their business. So, I mean, he's already told us several times before, you know, he doesn't have to open that store. He can sit on it and just sit on it forever. He's got other stores, but we want him to open it. And so we want that to be a productive location, and we would love to have his business here in town. But in order to do it, he's got to sell gas because he sells a higher priced item than a lot of people can buy at HEB. And so he's got to attract those people in to get that business, and he does it by selling gas. And so you'll know in a couple of years if that store is going to work or not. And if not, he'll sell it downstream. And if he sells it to another convenience store operator, you'll have a chance then, because it's going to be not transferable, right? So you'll have another chance to take a look at that operator when they come in.
Okay.
I guess another question would be, does the facade upgrade to the other businesses down the way, are they contingent on this one doing what they're doing?
I would say the for all the awnings to follow suit, we thought if Manor Grocery was in, that would be the catalyst to start everything to be consistent. And that was the goal, is to try to make sure they could get their awnings to improve what they got, so everybody to the east and maybe some other businesses like the barber shop or others may want a smaller awning to match. So they may do something else in some of the other buildings in downtown to be able to match that, even though it's not in a consistent strip of businesses. There may be some things that allow them to want to update their awnings as well.
We plan to talk to the contractor that they used for their facade, for the overhang that they were planning, the eaves and the overhang that they were planning, the posts that they were using. We plan to talk to them and the designs that they set forth. We plan to go talk to the other buildings, and Mr. Moore had talked to some of them. We plan to go to talk to the other buildings and see if they were also conform to the same restrictions. And we have some economic development money in the budget that we could use for a facade grant, for instance, that we could, do a 50-50 match or something with those other buildings. They'd take down those old facades and we'd do a match with them and, give them split the cost 50-50, something like that. So, we could, partnership with them on replacing those, and it wouldn't cost as much for the businesses, and they could have something nice looking that was uniform all across the front.
Council members, for the sake of the time and the agenda, I know we have executive session in a second. I'd like to ask a legal question at that point in time and bring back this item after executive session. Okay?
Would it be this item and the next one, since they both pertain to?
Yes, both items. Okay. So can I get a motion to table 13, 14?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we table items 13 and 14 until we come back from executive session.
Got a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesquite. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Oppose? Motion passed. One opposed?
No, my hand is
Okay. Motion passes. 15, consideration, discussion, and possible action on reconsideration of the medical office SUP for the property located near
Mayor,
the, yes.
that wasn't unanimous.
I asked that y'all say it was. So motion passes 6-1 with Mayor Pro Tem against.
Thank you.
Consideration, discussion, and possible action on reconsideration of the medical office SUP for the property located near the eastern corner of Boys the Ark and north of U.S. Highway 290, also referred to as 13400 East U.S. Highway 290, Manor, Texas. Yes, sir.
Mayor Council, Michael Burrell, Development Services Director for the City of Manor. This item is to contemplate the reconsideration of the medical office SUP request that was at the last council meeting. In order for it to be reconsidered, Councilwoman Weir would have to make that recommendation, as she was the one who voted against it at the last meeting. The applicant is available for questions either now or if we do reconsider on the next item, and they've also provided a substantial amount of information pertaining to the medical needs of the city per the gap analysis that's in front of you.
Okay, 1 second. This was, the 15, I wasn't here. Okay. Is there any questions? I think everything, if I'm not correct, is everything's in that packet, right? It's in the packet.
No, sir, I received that today, so that's why you have a handout in front of you.
That's what I mean. It's in the
Oh,
packet.
yes, sir.
Okay.
My apologies. I thought you meant the agenda packet.
Second.
We need to reconsider first before we have any actual discussion on the item. So if discussion does want to be held, regardless of the
Yeah,
intent to
I'm
approve
waiting.
or deny,
Yeah,
it'll
I'm
have
just
to be
waiting.
considered first.
I'm waiting for the reconsideration, if there's a reconsideration or not. Yeah,
Yes, I said that.
yeah.
Councilmember Ware, you have a question? Yes, ma'am.
I just got the packet
Mhm.
before the meeting started, so I didn't have a chance to read it.
Understood. But in order for you to even review, if you wanted to even postpone it and have any further discussion, that would be under item 16. So item 15 needs to happen first. There needs to be reconsideration, a motion for reconsideration.
So from what my understanding is, this was on October the 15th. And for it to move forward again, because it didn't move forward on the 15th, what you are all asking for item number 15 is if Councilwoman Weir wants to have a reconsideration because new information has been provided.
Correct.
If she does not want to do the reconsideration, then item 16 does not come forward until she chooses to reconsider.
Not until she chooses. It's either there is a reconsideration today or there is not.
Correct.
And then you follow whatever code states on the length of time is needed before it comes back again.
Okay.
But yeah.
Councilwoman, where I hear you saying that you just got the information and what is it that you're requesting or wanting to know? I think that's the question from legal counsel.
Can I help you with what I think it is? So, first, you would, in order to be able to discuss this, we would need to be considered. Then we can table this if we choose to, so that we can have time to review that. But otherwise, this is. That's what I think.
Yes.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that to reconsider of item 15 of the medical office SUP for the property located near the eastern corner block of Bodark and the north of US Highway 290, also referred to as 13400 East US Highway 290, Maine, Texas.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion?
I just have one. Can I get the information packet as well? I did not receive one.
Yeah, there was only one right here between us.
My apologies.
We can share. Yeah. I'll share with them.
No, I got it now. All right. Any questions? Other questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-1. Councilwoman Hill, Deja Hill. All right. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on a special use permit for 10,000 square feet of medical office space being generally located near eastern corner of Boys to Art and north of US Highway 290, also referred to as 13400 East US Highway 290, Maynard, Texas. Yes, ma'am.
To continue the discussion with Councilmember Weir, because you just received the information right now, you could also have the applicant come and provide you what is stated in, well, summary of what's stated in the 50 pages. Or you can postpone to give council time to take a look at the new information, because this is new information, in order for y'all to reconsider the SUP request. November 19th.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone item 15 until the next
16.
city council.
16.
16 until November 19th.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesmer. Any questions to the motion? Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Go. Let's jump on down. City Council would second. City Council will now convene into executive session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code. And we'll start with the PIDs. We'll go in order. Actually, we'll start with item, which one did I say? 13 and 14. We'll start there, and then we'll run through the PIDs from there. Time is 11:42 p.m. City Council will now reconvene to open session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code. Take action, if any, on items discussed during closed executive session. I do have a motion on the floor for item 13 and 14. Do we need a reminder?
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone item number 13 and 14 until our November 19th.
We have a motion on, I'm sorry. We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Is there any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 4 to 2. Do we need a better number? Oh, Councilman Moreno and Councilwoman Hill. Item number 17, consideration, discussion, possible action on an ordinance of the City of Manor, Texas, making a finding of special benefit to the property in the Mustang Valley Public Improvement District, providing for the method of assessment, special assessments against property in the district, approving an assessment roll for improvement area number 1 of the district, levying special assessments against property within improvement area number 1 of the district, providing for payment of the special assessments, providing for penalties and interest on delinquent assessments, establishing a lien on property within the district, approving a service and assessment plan, providing for related matters in accordance with Chapter 372, Texas Local Government Code, providing an effective date and providing for servability. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, council members, Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney. As was discussed in the public hearing for this item. The developer has requested that assessments be levied. City staff has provided background information, and also you have in front of you the ordinance to levy the assessments. And under Exhibit B, which is the Improvement Area Number 1 landowner agreement, we do have one revision that I would like to mention to you. It's in the second recital on page 1. Developer requested to make a clarification, and both bond counsel and your legal counsel agreed to include after Exhibit A1 to this agreement, insert save and accept the assessed property not owned by landowner. That just clearly makes clear on what the landowner actually owns. As you see in the third recital, you have in Exhibit A2 the assessed property not owned by the landowner. So with that, we just ask if you do make a motion to include the revision as read by your city legal.
Thank you. Any additional questions, council members?
Oh, and the developer is here if you have any questions.
I'll take a question or a motion.
I was just curious when the developer thought that they would bring the bonds to issuance.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Andre Ayala with Hilltop Securities. I'm the developer's advisor of this transaction. So what we're asking you to act on tonight is the levy of assessments for the project. Given how the assessment's been set up and the timing of the assessment, we believe it is most advantageous to not proceed with bonds at this time. We have discussed this with your staff and consultants, and proceed with the bonds later in 2026 so that we're not caught in a situation where we have uneven payments. To put it simply, so if we issue a bond right now, we'll start accruing interest on the bond from the date it is issued, let's say November, December of 2025, but we don't have the cash flow coming until later. Because the way it has been set up is that the cash flow will start coming in until January of 2027, if that makes sense. That's
so
what
you're
we're
thinking late in 2026? Is that what
as early as possible in 2026. So I'm thinking like second quarter probably. That's when we would be asking you to consider that. Obviously, we'll work with your consultants to make sure the numbers work out, based on the assessments that you're levying tonight.
Thank you.
Other questions, council members? Okay. We already got a motion, right? Or do we know we need a motion on the item? Take a question or a motion. Okay, we'll take a question or a motion. All right. No question. And no motion on the floor means this item does not pass. And the time is 11:49 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned.